is annoying. It's very annoying today. All right. Hey, kids. I'm sorry. Things are different with this interface than my usual interface because Brian has his way shut up. So I apologize for a little rocky start here because things are, like I said, things are different. So he's got some things set up that I don't, and things turn on and off and what have you. So it's going to be a little bit bumpy, but I appreciate all of you being here. So thank you. I apologize for the little rough start here, but we'll get it together. So for those of you who are new, how much time I got? Oh, he's not here.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Spoon Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Everybody joining me on the Observer YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. James Jones says, sup, my dude? Sup? Someone else says, welcome back. So yeah, Brian's setup is a little different than mine. So he's got some things that I'm adapting to. So I apologize if we're a little bumpy right now, but we'll get it all figured out. It's no big deal. Anyway, welcome to Saturday. If you've never been here before, we're a little different. I don't have staff. It's just me. And sometimes I get to talk to you during commercials. Other times we're busy doing other stuff. So it's not as technically polished as Brian's show. No co-host, no producers, no video during breaks. Just me, you, and Big Lou. But we will get through it, but I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, spread the word. And like I said, I'm sorry about my voice. It's just ever since I was intubated for so long, it affected my vocal cords. I always explain it to people sort of like Brian Pillman had so many surgeries, but there we go. All right, well, let's get into the show. Good news for Will Ospreay. He says to be on track to return in early 2026. As you probably know, Ospreay had neck surgery in mid-September. And the Body Alignment Clinic, sounds like a muffler hut. The Body Alignment Clinic in the UK posted an update on Saturday saying that Ospreay's doing great 6 weeks after the operation. Also, the post included the caption, January 2026. Interesting. Does anything happen in January of 26? Anything in January, I wonder. I don't know. We'll see if he's teasing us or not, but maybe. Could you imagine if Ospreay was back at Wrestle Kingdom? That'd be amazing. Hopefully, I mean, as long as he's okay to do it. As you know, Ospreay had been dealing with some herniated discs prior to his surgery and time off for recovery. Friday night, CMLL had the big Dia de los Muertos card. Halloween night, Arena Mexico. I'll give you spoilers. Just the two main matches. No surprise for the main event. The Sky Team, Mystico, Masco Dorada, and Neon defeated Hechicero, Volador Jr., and Barbaro Cavernario. Non-title match, by the way. And Guerrero Maya Jr. won the 2025 CMLL Rey del Inframundo Championship. He won over Defunto, Viano 3 Jr., Adrenalina for the championship. So I would imagine that was probably an amazing card. I need to get back down to Arena Mexico. It's so cool. Also, we have a final for the New Japan Super Junior Tag League. On Sunday, it's going to be Tanahashi's final homecoming. His last match in his hometown of Gaifu and the finals of the Super Juniors Tag League. So it's going to be the House of Torture, Doki and Sho. They're undefeated at the top of the A block with 10 points, 5-0. Taking on the Bullet Club War Dogs of Ishimori and Robbie X. They're on top of the B block with 8 points, 4-1. And overnight, they beat the Ichiban Sweet Boys with the Bloody Cross to make the finals. So here's the partial card for the final homecoming. You got the Super Junior Tag League Finals, House of Torture against Bullet Club War Dogs. As I mentioned, got the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Tanahashi challenges Yoshitsuji. And for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Hiroki Goto challenges Takeshita. That could be a really, really, really good card. And it will also be on New Japan World. So if you want to see it. SmackDown last night. It was sort of a go-home show for Saturday night's main event on Peacock. Only, I think, less than 5,000 fans there, somewhere around in that mark. So about half full, I think, for the Delta Center. Now, look, I mean, WWE's obviously past its peak. But look, I mean, I think this might be the first time for a lot of fans where it's not a peak and they're going to be very confused as far as what's going on. But wrestling is cyclical. It goes up, it goes down. This is totally expected. I mean, could it be the prices? Maybe. Could it be because it's Halloween night on a Friday and people want to go out? Maybe. Could be that people spent money on tickets for Saturday night's main event instead of SmackDown. Or maybe Salt Lake City is getting ready for the Utes game. SmackDown felt like one big, long Utes title belt commercial. But who knows? I'm not reading that much into it. I mean, especially with ticket prices. I mean, you double the ticket prices, you're still making money. So, I mean, WWE is a money-making machine with all of its TV deals, Saudi deals, and everything. You know, it's rock solid. It's too big to fail. So last night, SmackDown opens, and I get that Triple H is more serious than Vince with his styles and sensibility for wrestling. I get that growing up, he was more of a Crockett guy. Get that. Understand. I guess I was just, I think fans have been conditioned to WWE production values and WWE themed events. Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. There was a couple of things, like they did a stupid skit with R-Truth and a couple of people dressed in costumes, but there wasn't like the big Halloween party. They did a trick-or-treat match after SmackDown for the live crowd. But it just, why? And also I don't understand, it's Halloween. Okay, John Cena, it's not one of his booked dates, but put him on camera. I mean, he did a video for Stu, because last night was Stu the cameraman's 65th birthday. It's like, have John Cena dressed as Vanilla Ice, because that was such a pivotal point in his career, that Halloween SmackDown. But it just, I don't know, it just felt like, they had two big Spirit Halloween spiders up on the screen, and they had a few decorations, but it just felt like nothing. I don't know. I think on a holiday, a kid's holiday like Halloween, they should do a silly trick-or-treat match on TV, or some costumes, or, something, or the bait and switch where it's someone under a mask. Anyway, kind of a paint-by-numbers show. We'll talk about it and more. Stand by. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
You are clear. All right.
Yeah. All right, I think we're good. All righty. How is everybody? If you had a nice, did you do anything cool lately, Daniel?
No, not really. My buddy did have pretty sweet setup last night, but he lives at the end of like a private road, so he didn't get a ton of traffic.
Yeah, we never get trick-or-treaters.
But yeah, he had like, all these. His whole yard was staged. He had this huge table out with, like I think they put together like 55 bags. And he had a projector going with Friday the 13th. His mom made chili and apple cider, so
Nice.
it was fun, but I felt kind of bad because he put in so much work and effort and like got basically nobody was there to see it,
I understand. Yeah. Did you dress up at all? Go out?
No. I can't remember the last time I dressed up. Probably back when I had a girlfriend, she made me.
Of course. Of course. That's what girlfriends do. Anybody in the chat? Did you guys do any wrestling costumes? Yeah. Anybody dress up last night?
All right, 20 seconds.
All righty.
800-915-9654. 800-915-9654. 800-915-9654. That's 800-915-9654.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
It's good. Wrestling Observer Live. Oh, hang on one second. There we go. That's a little bit better. Sorry about the voice. When you're intubated so many times, you can see right there in the video. I've also been trached a couple of times right there. They cut your throat and put the tube right there, but it was so long it did damage. But I'm doing great. I feel good, and I appreciate everybody for being here. I know the voice isn't as pleasant as I'd like it to be, but anyway, I appreciate everybody here. Last night's Smackdown, Drew and Cody, they arrive at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. Drew's wearing sunglasses. He's a heel. He's also wearing his kilt and leather jacket with no shirt. Did he change at the hotel? Nia is carrying a Cincinnati jersey. She's a heel. Alexa shows up. Jade Cargill walked to the arena dressed like the Punisher. Wonder if she also has a black Ford F-350 pickup with a F Joe Biden flag on it or something. Maybe next week she'll wear Ed Hardy. Who knows? She's a heel. Tiffany comes out unannounced. She's mad. Cut the mic. She's not waiting for Jade Cargill. She wants her now. Nick Aldis warns her no physical contact until their match for Saturday night's main event. No physical contact. It's hugely important. It's very important. They do not touch. Yes, indeed, the Blackwater Colors. That's funny. Tiffany doesn't care. Jade comes out, and now she's dressed as Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. That stuffed shirt Nick Aldis brings out security. Got to look at Ilya Dragunov doing a bunch of exercises. He's got an open challenge. Nathan Frazier answers. Backstage, R-Truth is dressed as Santa Claus. See, because it's Halloween, and it's funny because it's funny, I guess. I was like, I guess they can't all be winners with R-Truth. Anyway, he was talking to the Motor City Machine Guns. Solo sets up the MFTs versus Sabin and Shelley later tonight. Now, back to the match. Tommaso Ciampa blows past Nathan Frazier. He wants a shot Ilya Dragunov says Ciampa's a jackass, and Frazier was here first. Had a fun match, which it should be. Dragunov retains. Ciampa comes out again. They show a replay. They come back from commercial of Ciampa and Dragunov brawling. In the chaos, Tama Tonga appears, and he has the U.S. title. Hands it off to Dragunov. He does his little yeah, and walks off. So Tama Tonga seems to be a singles competitor possibly in the future. A friend of mine was at the show in Salt Lake City, and he said the fans are really getting behind Dragunov. Kit Wilson, the brunette of Pretty Deadly, while his partner's injured, he's dressed in pink and black stripes, and he's dismantling the patriarchy. Where have I heard that before? Carmelo Hayes dismantles Kit Wilson, despite Miz's attacks and distractions from behind. Then after the match, Miz with the skull-crushing finale on Mello after. It's not over until he says it's over. Charlotte and Alexa backstage. You know, they had a great match on Monday. Shocker. Charlotte is a great wrestler. Charlotte kept talking about astrology. She's a Gemini, typical Gemini. That was weird. Is she going to hit people with sound bowls next? She can have a Jenny McCarthy death match. I don't know. Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. Back from commercial, they get hints of Cody and Sammy for the title. Sammy's talking to Cody about the future and keeps looking at his title. Rhodes tells Aldis he didn't attack Jacob Fatu. Back in the ring, Alexa pins Nia after Charlotte jumps up on the apron and distracts Nia Jax, giving Alexa the chance to roll her up. Rey Fenix challenges Tama Tonga for next week. He wants revenge. Then they show that damn WrestleMania promo. How dare they show people's shoes and not have it be Andrade to promote WrestleMania? Bunch of jerks. Hate them so much. I don't know why people were so upset about that, but whatever. Damian Priest promo on Aleister Black. It's personal. Punishment is coming for you. Kiana James and Julia challenge Tiffany Stratton, possibly next week. But actually then Chelsea Green comes up, and she still wants her second reign as U.S. champion. They're going to do that next week on SmackDown. Out of nowhere, Nikki Cross appears and scares Chelsea and Isla Dawn away. Skull and Bones. Anyway, distraction by Solo and Tonga Loa. The interference. Tama Tonga hits the cutthroat. Pins Saban. MFTs attack the guns. Rey Fenix comes out, goes after Tama Tonga, gets laid out. Nakamura takes out JC, but then Tama Tonga choke slams Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know. Does anyone care about the team of Rey and Nakamura? MFTs stand tall again to end their segment. Drew and Aldis backstage talking, sort of alluding to Drew's stipulations he'll bring out later in the show. Cody comes out in his orange suit. My wife looked up at the TV and goes, "It looks like Dumb and Dumber." And now I can't get that out of my head. So Drew complains at the contract signing, and someone brought up a good point that they have already done a contract signing just a couple of weeks ago for their last match. It doesn't really bother me, but some people are annoyed, but I'm just like, contract signings are like staples of everything. It's just kind of what they do. So Drew wants to win the title on a DQ or count out. He doesn't trust Cody. Drew calls himself the real American Dream because he's an American by choice and came here and lived the American Dream and pisses Cody off. He's getting under Cody's skin. Drew then hits the Claymore. Michael Cole then said, Drew is in the champ's head. Drew powerbombs Cody through a table. Drew swears he'll be the new WWE champion. Afterwards, after the show was over, LA Knight beat Solo in a trick-or-treat street fight off TV. And then the crew celebrated. Stu, the cameraman. Stu is 65. I mean, good for him. 65, lugging all that heavy gear around, but that's all. My back just hurts thinking about it. They even played a special message from John Cena, so everyone wished Stu a happy birthday. But so Drew is in Cody's head. Who isn't in Cody's head? Didn't we see this last year with Kevin Owens? Remember, KO was his friend, and he attacked him and, repeat after me, got in his head. John Cena joined The Rock and got in Cody's head. Right? It's like every feud. It's like Cody's head is an Airbnb because everyone gets in there. I think the only one who didn't get in Cody's head was The Rock because he wanted Cody's soul. Of course, Travis Scott tried to get in Cody's head by punching his way in, but that's a different story. But it just seems to me where we've seen this before. You know, Drew is just Kevin Owens with abs. Kevin Owens is Drew with a flat top. They're both heels. They both are heels who tell the truth. And they're always in the WWE booking back pocket when you need someone. And it feels like as long as both Drew or KO are healthy, there's always a spot on the calendar every year where they challenge for the world title. You know, Owens was in the Rumble every year, whether it was Cody or Roman or whomever. And Drew, same thing, twice now. Once in Wales, once in Scotland. They've done Drew twice, going for the title in his hometown. Every time they need somebody, they bring these people out and they reheat them as heels who tell the truth and get in their heads. I mean, they really are. They're the same character. And I really feel like, you know, because they went back so quickly to Drew, that this one is going to hurt him. This might be the last time you can read him. Even if Randy Orton interferes, no matter how Drew loses, he could get disqualified. I think that's it.
Somebody's watching me.
You're clear.
That is loud. All right. There we go.
You hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later.
800-247-6135. 800-247-6135. That's 800-247-6135.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Clapper, Chief of Orthopedic Surgery at Cedars-Sinai Medical Group in Los Angeles, California. Dedicated to your health, your life, and your sports. As a weekend warrior, you know about sports injuries and pain. Exercise is an important element in keeping your body's core in good shape to minimize sports injuries. But when you are in pain, there is one product that I recommend to my patients, and that is Blue Goo Gel. Blue Goo consists of a proprietary formula developed specifically for the treatment of inflammation and general muscle aches and strains. I recommend Blue Goo for my patients coping with hip and knee pain before surgery, especially bursitis and tendinitis. Give Blue Goo a try. Call 1-888-330-0123 and you'll receive a 1-week supply of Blue Goo absolutely free. The makers of Blue Goo are even paying the shipping. The number again is 1-888-330-0123. If you want more information on Blue Goo, visit online at www.dothegoo.com.
Now available at select Big 5 stores near you.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are 2 good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call now, 800-771-4125. That's 800-771-4125. 800-771-4125. 800-771-4125.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Saturday nights made, oh, by the way, Smackdown. Next week on Smackdown, Ilya Dragunov defends the 24/7 title. The U.S. title in an open challenge match. Possibly Tommaso Ciampa. We shall see. Ray Phoenix versus Tala Tonga, and Charlotte Flair and her sound bowls or her Ouija board takes on Nia Jax. Saturday night's main event tonight on Peacock in the US, Netflix internationally. First match tonight is going to be Punk against Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship, which makes sense. Look, if they're going for Braun Breaker and they're going to put the title on Braun Breaker, I think Punk's got to be the guy. Punk can join Paul Heyman, do the gimmick or whatever, or he can, whatever they want to do, or he can stay babyface. Whatever they're going to do, they can do that and put it on. It's a bigger deal to beat CM Punk at WrestleMania than Jey Uso, unless they have some major CM Punk matchup, a celebrity match or something like that for Punk, or a big, huge, massive return. I would think it's got to be Punk. I mean, that's a bigger deal. Punk will put him over, and it's a big deal. So I would think it's got to be Punk tonight. And also, people always say, "Oh, Jim, you don't like WWE, WWE hater." But if you go back and listen, every time there's a Saturday night's main event, I go, "Oh, could be a fun show. Could be some cool things happening." And there rarely is anything good happening on these shows. I feel like, chances are we were always going to end up on Peacock, and it was always going to leave the network. Wrestling is as popular as it is, and that's just what it is. But I just feel like they have done nothing to create any major buzz for Saturday night's main event. Maybe I'm just old, but I remember when things happened on Saturday night's main event. And I get it. SmackDown's a pretty eventful show. And Raw is a beautiful looking, eventful show. And it's hard to compete when you have weekly shows that are at the level that they generally are. But, you know, if that's the case, then make Saturday night's main event look like a pay-per-view, look like a big deal, and have some exciting results, some major changes, some major shocks, some major something. I mean, the first time they brought back Saturday night's main event, the main angle took place off television. It's like, you know, I swear, if it wasn't an upheld title, I swear there'd be no title changes tonight. I swear. Because for some reason, they just, I don't know. But we will, I would think, get a world champion tonight. And it should be CM Punk. But we'll see. Cody and Drew, U.S. for the undisputed title. Again, I can't see them changing 2 world titles or even the IC title. Certainly, you could see Tiffany and Jade. And then that way you have one major title change on Raw and another major title change on SmackDown to talk about, which is fine. But you don't want to, you know, undercut the importance of CM Punk winning the World Heavyweight title and the build to WrestleMania and presumably Braun Breaker. But we shall see. And Jade, Tiffany was okay, cutting the promo and being all mad, but her being a babyface in earnest is just, it doesn't feel like Tiffany. Tiffany is a mean girl. Even if she's popular, people like that attitude. And for her to be honest and a good girl is just, it's boring and it feels untrue to the character. But, you know, Jade looks like $1 million. And as I mentioned last week, Jade being a heel is good because that way she doesn't have to do any spectacular moves. Just punch, kick, brawl. Keep it very, very simple and basic. You know, Jade is Jade. And I don't think she's ever going to get any better. I think she's always going to be a little clunky. And that's just the way it is. Dom defending the IC title. You think he's going to hold on to the title so he can face John Cena when that happens next month or a few weeks, whenever it is. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a packed show, but it's too little too late. I mean, it's been, about a year or so? Saturday night's main event's been back, and nearly a year, not much has happened. So it is what it is. AEW Collision, taped for Wednesday. No spoilers. The big announcement is that Tony Khan will have more information on the women's blood and guts match taking place November 12th in Greensboro, which seems appropriate. So further information regarding that match, and he also noted that Penelope Ford, who suffered an injury last week, is out of the match. And as a result, many people have lined up to take her spot in the match. So, and he said that more participants will be added, making the match bigger. So tonight on Collision, no spoilers. Bandito versus Mascara Dorada. Mercedes Moné defends the CMLL Women's World title against Olympia. Don Callis family, Okada and Takeshita versus Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Oh, 2 teams that don't like each other. What a twist. Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir versus Nixon Newell and Miranda Elise. The Gun Club, Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, and Ace Austin versus the M&M collection of Johnny TV, Mason Madden, and Mansoor. And the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, Roderick Strong, and Commander versus LFI, Sammy Guevara, Beast Mortos, and Terroristico. Oh yeah, I forgot that Sammy's in LFI. AEW ratings came out this week, and they were like under 500,000 viewers against the World Series. And to me, that should come as no shock. LA's a major market. Toronto is also, it's a big matchup. Otani is a big deal. You got to expect big events are going to help have always hurt wrestling. That's just the way it is. But, look, if you like AEW, great. If you like WWE, great. But there are just some people who this tribalism makes them idiots. Coinciding with the bad Dynamite rating comes news that WrestleDream did around 120,000 buys. And again, wherever you watch wrestling, that's fine. Chances are you're probably the wrestling person of your friends. So I hear from casual fans or WWE fans that I know. And I know one woman, for example, she's a young mother, probably late 20s, early 30s, mom of boys. And she grew up loving Jeff Hardy. Likes the characters, the stories, the production. She likes WWE. She can't get into AEW. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a group of people who are so delusional and tribal that they just automatically dismiss any positive AEW news or metrics. And yes, I know AEW fans engage in similar behavior as well. There are those too. No one's innocent. But we're not talking about that right now. It's a talk show, not a recipe where you gotta dole out everything equally. So stay with me here. So 120,000 for WrestleDream. And people are like, that's ridiculous. That's impossible. They poo-poo. The whole thing with, the numbers, the bad numbers are real. Any good number can't be real. Any possibility that people are watching on Max is impossible. It's gotta be bad. It's always bad. And then you get 120,000 buys on pay-per-view. And I just don't think that the WWE Universe understands that there are other ways to enjoy and watch wrestling. I have friends who are wine connoisseurs. I live near Washington State's wine country. There are so many wineries just a few miles from my house. And, sometimes in the past I would go out, do some wine tasting. It's nice, it's fine, but I don't have the refined palate of some of my friends. And, for me, I've always liked action. Growing up, yeah, I'd watch WWF, but it's like Crockett had the best action. I liked the Crockett shows. I liked watching exciting matches and angles that, seemed to go organically, that happened organically on Georgia Championship Wrestling or World Championship Wrestling or whatever. And it's like, I don't think these people understand that AEW pay-per-views, yes, they're long, blah, 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 blah. But even if the show is not good, someone then you got in the chat, James Jones says, Richmond, Virginia. I miss the old Richmond Coliseum. Exactly. You miss wrestling. But it's like, people like the action. And even if it's not the best AEW pay-per-view, you never walk away going, well, they didn't try. Just things sometimes didn't work. But it's like with WWE, with a PLE or whatever, you can look and see they were intentionally booked to have highs and low points. Whereas AEW, it's like, by and large, they have people just go and let the chips fall where they may. And that's what I like. I don't want to see people killing themselves for my entertainment, but I like creativity. I like passion. There, Mox wrestles with passion. Dude lives for this stuff. And that's what I like. I like the passion. I like the creativity, the invention. I like people who give it their all when they can. And that's what I like. And I don't think people understand that, yeah, sometimes the bad guys, they'll close a pay-per-view on a down note. But I've never turned off a pay-per-view and gone, they didn't try to give me my money's worth. They try each and every time. Do they succeed? No, they don't always succeed. No one does. But it's like these people don't understand that, AEW has built up a good reputation and a good relationship with its, albeit small, fan base. People know that when you turn on an AEW pay-per-view, you're going to get good, you're going to get a lot of effort. And, people are going to wrestle, and you're going to see, some blow-away matches. You're going to see some fun. You're going to get the show. Say what you want about Tony Khan. Is he a dork? Sure. But dude loves wrestling. And I'm not saying WWE doesn't either. But people don't understand that AEW's audience trusts AEW. And they deliver. By and large, they deliver. That's my thought. What do you think? Let me know. Stand by. Jim Valley. Wrestling
Middle finger.
Oh, clear.
It's me, the Hotel Whiz. Before you go anywhere, call me day or night for hotel rates too low to publish. I'll save you up to 75% on over 500,000 hotels across the globe. You see, I've already done the research, so you don't have to spend time online trying to find the best deal. That's up to 75% off. Just call me, the Hotel Whiz. It's a free call, and you get instant access to rates too low to publish with no cancellation fees.
Make a free call now and save up to 75% off your hotel rooms the next time you're going somewhere for business or pleasure. Call the Hotel Whiz now and get instant access to rates too low to publish. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. Call the Hotel Whiz right now for rates too low to publish at 800-586-7112. Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-915-9654. 800-915-9654. 800-915-9654. That's 800-915-9654.
If you've got a property that you've been trying to sell and you've tried almost everything, I want to tell you about something that you haven't tried yet. You're going to think this offer is too good to be true, but it's not. Thousands of customers have sold their homes in any condition with Need to Sell My Home. This is a real opportunity from a highly rated company that buys homes all over the country. Did you know it's possible to sell your home right over the phone with no real estate commissions and no pesky open houses? Plus, every offer is a cash offer with no mortgage holdups. To find out how much you can sell your home or property for, call now. Take 5 minutes of your time and call for this 100% free quote to sell your home.
800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. 800-430-0674. That's 800-430-0674.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Stick around. I may do a little overtime after the radio show if you're online right now on the Observer YouTube. Thinking a lot this week about Mike Rotunda. Wrestled his IRS, as you know, and the father of Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. And, I saw a lot of Mike's active career. And while certainly, and I'm glad to hear that he's not actually in hospice. He's in rehab after a massive heart attack. So we certainly wish him and the Rotunda family all the best. But I saw him in the magazines, as an amateur style professional wrestler, and he sort of came around at the wrong time. Had he come around earlier, he could have been a touring NWA champion like Jack Briscoe. He certainly had the credentials, kind of cut from the same cloth. But while everyone does know him primarily as his IRS or Michael Wall Street, or sort of that post 90s part of his career, to me, the best Mike Rotunda was in WCW, the NWA, around 88 and 1989 as a heel captain of the Varsity Club. That was the best as far as he had a great personality. He held the World Television Championship, the NWA World title, that red belt, for like a year and change. And it was like a world championship. I mean, he made that belt. And at, Starrcade 88, when he and Rick Steiner finally faced off, when Rick broke away from the Varsity Club and beat Mike Rotunda. That Starrcade, if you've never seen it, go watch it. A massive pop. But if you want to see prime Mike Rotunda, never seen it, Captain Mike Rotunda with the Varsity Club, 1988 is peak Rotunda to me. Go check it out if you haven't. All right, I will talk to you next week. Thank you for being here, and we'll be back here on the Observer YouTube next week. And remember, as always, it's just wrestling.
All right, man. Have a good week, okay?
All right, man.
All right. Take care.
I'm glad we got it figured out. Talk to you later. Bye. All right, kids. I can hang around for a little bit. Yeah, that family is really talented. You're right. That family is really, really talented. Ridiculous. Craziness. All right. There we go. Can you guys still hear me? Just want to make sure. I'm glad you had fun, James. I appreciate it. I know it's all a different thing here. Yeah, I loved Captain Mike. I thought he was great as far as he was serious. And Mike Rotunda obviously didn't have the best genetics when it came to cosmetics. But, when he's wearing the singlet, covers up a lot of, his lack of definition, I should say. But make no mistake, Rotunda was a badass. There's that YouTube where he's fighting, the guy who was like a prisoner wrestler. I forget the guy's name, and that guy tried to get a little friendly with Rotunda, and Rotunda just beat him up. So why do some people say AEW doesn't tell stories? I think I have a couple of theories on that. One, because they just listen to podcasts. You listen to, and look, Cornette is a very smart man, and he's a very good talk show host. But it's like they'll just listen to these people and just say, "Okay, I'm caught up," or they'll read stuff, or you'll just catch a clip. You'll get like the clip of the fish tank, and I was not a fan of the fish tank spot just because I thought it looked dumb. It's like they didn't look like they were drowning anyone because it was like 10 seconds. So I don't know. I mean, AEW's told a lot of long stories, like that first one with Hangman Adam Page, and the Elite. That was a very long story. They've done a bunch of things like that. But also part of it, I think, sort of like, you have somebody has their debut album, and they've spent their whole life writing that debut album. Then they got to crank out the next one for the record company, and it's not as good because they haven't had as much time. It's like, I feel like they kind of burned through a lot of their ideas and inspiration, And then it was like, now what? But it feels like they're much more inspired now. And I think that they do tell stories. Obviously, they're telling a story with Darby and Mox right now. They've got Anthony Bowens and the Acclaimed. They're doing something right now. There's a lot of different stories, but it's so. If you remember, when AEW debuted, it was going to be more sports oriented, and it's going to be Mid-South or whatever it was. It's not like Mid-South was sports oriented. What sport would Kamala, the Ugandan giant, play? Care to tell me? What sport do they lay a Russian flag across you? What sport, what sport does a guy take off a gorilla suit and attack somebody? Wrestling is always ridiculous. It always has that level of ridiculousness. And so much of it is just childhood. But I think that they found their way. And also, I was talking with someone in AEW, and the world is filled with promotions, failed promotions, that tried to copy WWE. TNA and all these promotions tried to copy WWE, and it's like, you can't out WWE. Sort of like Dolly Parton said, it's expensive to look this cheap. So I like the idea that, I don't want WWE stories from AEW. Yeah, so much of what people think of pro wrestling is what Vince pioneered. The goofy comedy, the skits, the, whatever. And so you're always going to do things that WWE pioneered. A contract signing or whatever. The typical wrestling tropes. Those are always going to be there. But at the same time, things that are WWE like, I don't think the fan base wants it. And I also don't think that it fits. I think AEW, when they were sort of holding up a mirror to wrestling and breaking some of those tropes, that's what I liked, because, and things move on. You can't do that forever, but I liked that because it showed that, they're different, and they watch a lot of wrestling, and they see a lot of that same stuff. Left field one for you, Jim. I was watching a match with a tremendous audience heat. Made me wonder if there's an example of hyper due to crowd response of the night. Yeah. Jumbo and Sahara Misawa. They made the decision to put the belt on Misawa at Budokan and beat Jumbo clean. Baba sent his note that Misawa's going over. Jumbo sent a note back, said DQ, ? And Baba said no. I think, you could say that Rock and Hogan, Toronto, was very similar in that regard. They didn't change the finish, but they wrestled the match differently. You know, there have been others. I'm trying to. There's one that's off the top of my head. Yes, there have been others. Yes, and I like. You know, it's so funny when people complain about AEW's crowds are smaller and stuff. I'm like, great. It's less hassle. Yeah, maybe they're not making as much money at the box office, but that's, for me, it's great. Makes parking easier, driving there easier, and I'm closer to the action. You know? I think, for me personally, I think a great crowd size is about 5,000-ish people. You know, maybe you can do 10 or 9, that's okay. But, you know, I don't like WrestleManias in the big stadiums. I don't like it because I like wrestling when you have a connection with the performers and they're listening to the crowd and it's not just all scripted out. Okay, we're going A to B to C to D to E. I like the idea of, the crowd's, you know, doing this. We should do that. The crowd's responding to this. I like the interaction with crowds. I loved it. I know it's ridiculous, but if I had to pick a match of the year, and this is totally for my enjoyment, my favorite match this year was Kyle O'Reilly against Kyle Fletcher, where the crowd was doing all the Kyle stuff. And they didn't hijack the match. They added to the match because the Kyles were playing off of things. I mean, Kyle Fletcher's too ridiculously good for his age. Should hate him. But I mean, the fact that he was able to play off that, had the knowledge and confidence and instinct to play off all of that was very impressive. I just think, for me, I don't understand. I mean, I get it. Bigger's better and it's tribalism and we're Americans with our big cars and our big gulps and our big burgers and all that stuff. But to me, I like wrestling when it's intimate. I like it when you go there and you can interact with the crowd, or the guys can interact with the crowd and feel the crowd and do things based on that. I love that. That's what I want from wrestling. And it just feels like if you're in a big arena and they're doing that big, broad style, and it's like, because you're outdoors, the sound goes up and it's delayed and it's just not the same. I feel like I like my wrestling with a little bit of impromptu and a little bit, a little bit of working. That's what I like. So I just think it's best. Yeah. Everything doesn't have to be partisan, which is true. It's like, guys, we're wrestling fans. Everyone laughs at us. Whether you like WWE or AEW or New Japan or whatever, we're all laughed at. So it's like, there shouldn't be gatekeeping in wrestling. It's silly because we're all the butt of the show business jokes, Yeah. Yeah. Even as a heel, if he gets heat from the crowd about not being ready, instantly drowned out by his defenders. That's what you just, wrestling isn't, the moves are great. And I love exciting moves. But there's also that aspect of working the crowd and personality and things like that. There's so much to it. There's so much to it. And that's why I love that match. And that's why, to me, it was the best match, because the crowd wasn't going, look at me. And those guys were working around it and working off of it. And Kyle Fletcher seemingly had different responses for different chants. And he would slow down and he would taunt the crowd. And it was It was brilliant. Definitely one of my favorite interactions in a match that I've had. Yeah, I know I still love wrestling. What year is this? Probably close to 50 years. It's ridiculous, but it's fun, you know? But I mean, also part of it is that, you know, WWE, all those years that they had, you know, in TNA sort of counts, but all those years where they were the only show really in town, realistically. And all those people, you know, and you listen to Bruce Pritchard or you listen to whomever, and they tell you, you know, the right way to do it is the WWE way. And certainly they found tremendous success. But there's more than one way to do it. There's more than one way to paint a picture, more than one way to tell a story, and there's more than one way to do a wrestling match. And that's what I like. I like the interaction with the crowd and the crowd having fun, and it's theater. I like theater. And that's what makes it fun. Yeah. So, and I like the fact that there's different choices. It's like, if AEW isn't your thing, that's fine. And if, you know, Tony Khan bugs you because he's, you know, kind of an unusual gentleman, that's fine too. So, I don't know. You know, you look at a great example of this is, oh gosh. Oh, what's that dude's name? Shit, I just had it now. The Lone Wolf. What is he now? Braid? He's just Dwyer. Dawson Dwyer. What was his freaking name when he was in WWE? You know. Anyway, that guy was like a troll. Everyone was talking about how he was a troll, and it's like when I finally saw him live, I realized that he knew what he was doing, and it was great. Oh shoot, what's that guy's name? Bishop Dyer, that's what it is. Bishop Dyer. What the hell was his stupid name? No, that's not him. Anyway, Thomas Peastock. What the hell was his name? Baron Corbin. That's it, Baron Corbin. Thank you, Corbin. You know, when you go and see him on TV, you think he's just this big idiot. But when I saw him live and the camera wasn't focused on him, he was in on the joke and he's working the crowd. And I was like, why don't they show that on TV? It would have got that guy over. But it's like, that's what I like, when people are able to do that. Jericho. Remember that kid who had abs? And Jericho's like, look at that guy. Are you on the gas? And he's sitting there interacting with the kid. And of course he sells for the kid. I mean, that's brilliant. You know, you need a guy of Jericho's experience to do that. It's fun. That's the stuff that I like. And I like the awesome moves. You know, I love the athleticism too. The athleticism is fun, but it's like, I just like all of it. You know, you don't have to kill yourself to entertain me. And I don't want someone to kill themselves for my entertainment, but it's just, you know, all of these things you can do that can work. I mean, it was brilliant. I guess that's one of the things about WWE. And, you know, I get it. You've got this billion-dollar company. You got, you know, Netflix is a huge platform. Television time is very expensive. And all these things, like, you can't always trust these idiots. these wrestling people to say the right thing, so you script them. Because, there's a lot of money in sponsors, things on the line. I understand why it is the way it is, but I also want, to have some fun, a little freedom, and a little, interaction and improv when appropriate and when it adds to the show. Not to just get yourself over, but to add to the show. You show a little ass or whatever. It's a lot of fun, and it can be fun. No, it wasn't live. It was after the shows. Yeah, it was after, but it was so good, so funny. I mean, and that's, I don't know. That's one of the things I do like that both companies are seemingly trying to do. More fan interaction after shows and live events and things. Give people a little something for the show. Well, the promos are all the same. I want to be the face of the company. I need to be the champion. And that's great. Talk about the championship, but it's like they're just all kind of the same motivations again and again. Like Roddy Piper. Piper, a lot of what he did as a heel was to prove he was smarter than you. I'm not doing this, didn't win a lot of titles on the national stage. I'm not doing this because I want more money, or of course he did want money, but a lot of it was, I'm smarter than you. Let me show you. I'm going to show you how much smarter I am than you. And there's no different motivations, change it up, with Tiffany as a mean girl, it's like when Randy Savage became a babyface, he was pretty much the same guy. And it's like Tiffany's now a different character, and I don't think she's nearly as interesting. That's me. Yeah, he has been a better world champion, but Cody is what they want him to be. The corporate, whatever. I mean, Cody is not the same wrestler now that he was in AEW. He's got his act down. They want him to do the act. You cut the promos, come out looking good in the suit, and you hit your same spots. Hit your crossroad, Cody cutter, this, that, and the other thing, and there you go. But I don't know. I mean, Cody is doing what they want. It's hard to criticize, but it's definitely different. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, it's easier to, when it was on network television, it definitely was the generational show. And it probably still is. And I mean, these shows are what they are. They're very polished. They're very, I don't know. That's one of the things. It's like my friend, the writer, Scott Fishman, writes for TV Insider. Be sure to read his columns. Great guy, very knowledgeable, very nice guy. He's 40. So he didn't live through any of the territory stuff, which is fine. That's what I'm saying. Most of the audience hasn't. But it's like they just know wrestling as corporate. It's corporate. It's always slick. It looks slick. And it's if it's rough around the edges or a little gritty, well, is that right? Sort of like going to a convenience store and it's kind of dirty. It's like, is this, I like a little grit, but I'm older and I remember that. And also, there's so much corporate stuff where it's slick and it's produced, and I'm just like, it's in everything, and I'm kind of tired of it, just in general. Cody does make it work with whatever they gave him, Kevin Owens last year and they really haven't given him anything great to work with, and he's been single-handedly doing this. Yeah, Hangman, if you remember, Ric Flair's first world title run wasn't great. But his second world title run was awesome. And that's kind of been the story of Hangman, too. It's like he challenged Jericho first time, as they crowned a new champion. And Jericho, of course, won. And Hangman really didn't do much special. And you're like, oh, was he wilting in front of this big stage? And then he grows in huge popularity as the troubled babyface, alcoholic, whatever you want to call him, the cowboy. And that was brilliant. Wins the title and can't maintain momentum. And that's not unusual. A lot of people, it takes some time to learn how to be world champion. But dude is killing it right now. I completely agree. And yeah, I think so. He's learning how to be it. Yeah. And I think, a lot of people are like, we're getting on his ass. Oh, he doesn't ask veterans questions. Oh, he thinks he's already a veteran. And he thinks, oh, he's already made it because he's on blah, blah, blah. And it's like, look, there are no doubts in my mind. And I talked about this 5 years ago, that there's some people in AEW who think they've made it when really they haven't. And they need to up their game. But I don't think Hangman is one of them. But, yeah. And it's funny. I don't know if you heard the latest Wrestling Observer Radio with Dave and Garrett. And they're talking about, someone was asking about, oh, there are not enough people in their 20s who are big stars. Kyle Fletcher is. And how old is Carmelo Hayes? Is he 20? Is he 30? He might be 30. But he's still, not that old. But the thing is, Dave was talking about the Von Erichs. And the Von Erichs, yes, they were the hottest thing for 3 years or whatever it was. And yes, Terry Gordy was 22 and David was 26 or 24 or whatever it was. And Kerry was, 21 or 23, whatever. All these kids were in their early 20s. They were big stars. But, one, their dad run the promotion. And two, how did that all work out for them? How'd that work out eventually in the long run? You've got to be able to trust these people. And look, when you're young and dumb and, all jacked up on testosterone or hormones or whatever, you're having fun, you want to go out and have a good time, and you just go. It's very easy to screw things up. Or it's very easy to make someone mad inadvertently. And it's like, to put the title on you, they've got to trust you. Look at, perfect example, Rob Van Dam. After years of pushing, years of being over with the crowd, and being, not as pushed as he was popular, being more popular than he's pushed. He wins the WWE World Title at the ECW pay-per-view from John Cena, no And what happens? Gets busted for pot. Jeff Hardy. A lot of the same stuff over the years. You know, you've got to be able to trust these people. And in their 20s, you've got to have a lot of maturity and a lot of these things. So, I mean, I get it. You know, yeah, it would be nice if you had some young kid. I mean, so far, so good with Kyle Fletcher as far as we know. And that's great. And let's hope he's going to, you know, keep it between the lines and have a great career. It certainly seems like it. But I mean, not everybody is going to be Randy Orton, where you get chance after chance after chance and crapping in bags and harassing women. And to Randy's credit, took him a long time, but he got better. But, you know, that's the thing. You know, you got to be able to trust these people. Ahmed Johnson. I fully believe Ahmed would have been the first African-American WWE champion, but he was injuring people. He was unreliable. They didn't feel comfortable trusting him. One of the reasons Roddy Piper, never a major world champion, because they didn't trust him. You know, when Roddy Piper's, you know, naked out on the balcony with Bob Orton or Don Morocco, you know, is that the guy you want to put your belt on? So, I mean, yeah, you want those young kids, but you still got to be able to trust these people. You know, you got to be able to trust them to go out and do the right thing. It's like, for years, WWE wouldn't let Ric Flair talk. And I know I was probably one of those people at the time who were saying, oh, are they stupid? Well, yeah, Madison Square Garden. Ric Flair gets on the microphone and says, I've been making virgins bleed. It's like, it's New York. They're sponsors. What are you doing? You know, Ric Flair's, you know, I wouldn't have let him talk. You know, they were right in not trusting Ric Flair. You know, my cats. I love my cats. But you flip a switch and they go crazy. It's like, you can't just let them outside unsupervised because they're going to go nuts and run off. So, yeah, it is very difficult. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, wrestling cycles through. And that's something you got to remember. I mean, there's little kids watching wrestling for the first time. I try to keep that in mind, that I've been watching almost 50 years. And I've seen many, many things. It's okay to, you know, people were complaining about the contract signing. And I guess it's such a trope, it didn't even register with me. You know, people, perfect example. Stephanie Vicker. The Devil's Kiss. That move has been around forever. Forever. And it's never been branded, to the best of my knowledge. Maybe it has a lucha name. But I mean, here's Stephanie Vicker. Pretty young woman. Good look. She's got very popular glutes, let's say, with the fans. And, you know, she's got this move that is kind of funny, kind of sexy, and these fans haven't seen it before, and now it's got a name. It's her move now. Even though it's been around forever, and men used to do that move. It's her move, and as far as probably generation of fans today are concerned, she invented it. You know, things come back, things go. And that's just, but yeah, I mean, that's just an example of how it is. I'm seeing kids dress in clothes that I wore in the 90s. There's nothing new under the sun. In the 90s, they brought back what was like swing dancing with Cherry Poppin' Daddies and Zoot Suit Riot and Brian Setzer Orchestra and all that fun stuff. It's like, you never know what can come back and do that stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of things we haven't seen in a long time. But I was really surprised we didn't get more Halloween stuff last night. And I really feel like, yeah, Triple H, he's got sort of a bully sense of humor, and I get that. But I think WWE fans expect themed shows like that. And I would, yeah, you got to build the Saturday Night's Main Event, but do a silly something for kids. It's a kid's holiday, Halloween, the trick-or-treat match or some silly stuff they could have had Chelsea Green out trick-or-treating and getting different things from different superstars or R-Truth or, do something along those lines with a comedy figure that you can do, that you can use. So, I don't know. I think Triple H does need to keep that in mind, that there is a history there of WWE, and it doesn't need to be stupid stuff. It doesn't have to be the crass Vince humor, but I think it does need to be there because I think people expect it. At least that's my thought on that. But it just felt like they didn't really do anything. It just felt like a show. And maybe they don't want to spend the money. Maybe you're right, Crash. It's the corporate nature. Don't want to spend the money because of stockholders. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, so is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Anything you guys want to talk about? Any questions? That's fine. Oh, I've been going over my ballot. You want to see my ballot? Do I have my ballot? Let's see. Oh, let's see. Is it here? There it is. Okay. Oh, goodness. The ballot was much tougher this year than I thought. I haven't quite finished it. So here's what I got so far. And this can change. I always wait. What I do is I look at it. I go down the ballot. I kind of look at it, digest it, and then I walk away. And then I just kind of think about it for a while, kind of let it marinate. And then I'll start, doing some research if I need to, those type of things. And then I just got to take my time. And then I go back and go, oh, I regret that vote. Anyway, all right. So in the historical performers era, I voted for Offensica. I have the British Bulldogs down. They are very influential, but they didn't wrestle together that long. But I'm going back and forth on the Bulldogs. Cowboy Bob Ellis. I seem to vote for him when I have room. Black Gordman and Goliath. You got to vote for them, I think. Steamboat and Youngblood. Now, they weren't together very long. But, when you talk about their popularity and that cage match with Slaughter and Kernoodle that led to, the creation of Starrcade and the big production on Thanksgiving night as opposed to just a tag team tournament on Thanksgiving night. There's a lot of influence there. So I decided to put them in there since essentially their success led to, one of the big pay-per-views of all time. Modern performers. As I mentioned, I don't like to vote for modern performers. Unless you're rock, unless you're someone who's doing, uber big business, I'm not going to vote for you until things are done or you're winding down. But I do have some exceptions this year. And I'm comfortable with them. I am voting for Cody. I mean, how can you not? He's got the numbers. And he's been very influential, and he's at that level. So, yeah, I got to vote for Cody. And I am, as I mentioned last week, I'm voting for Matt and Jeff Hardy. Yes, they're still active, but, I mean, the vast majority of their career is passed through. And, I mean, I used a different metric for them that I've never done before. And that is their appearances and their popularity at Comic-Cons or whatever the conventions, WrestleCons, Comic-Cons, whatever it is. They are transcendent. Everybody loves Jeff Hardy. Everyone loves Matt Hardy. They've had success. They've drawn. They've done everything. I think, are they the tag team of the Attitude Era? One could certainly make the case. So and look, they just drew a house a couple of weeks ago with TNA against the Dudleys. So I'm very comfortable voting for Matt and Jeff Hardy. And I am voting for Bill Goldberg. Big star during the peak of wrestling. And look, he still is a big deal in 2025. So I think he's got some longevity there. And I think he's a decent person. Does he have a grumpy side? Yeah, maybe. But I still think I don't think he's a bad person. I just think he's very serious at times. Okay. I'm having some challenges with Japan. I'm not done with Japan yet. Kojima and Tenzan, are they the tag team of the 90s? They're up there. Fujiwara, I always vote for Fujiwara. Hayabusa, I go in and out on Hayabusa. Inoki and Sakaguchi. It's like people make this case like, oh, Antonio Inoki's in. But it's like Sakaguchi was a pretty big deal too. So if anyone I'm going to drop them. Tigerjeet Singh, big Inoki opponent. And then Manami Toyota and Toshio Yamada. Awesome tag team. Groundbreaking. Mexico, you get 3. So I'm going to go with Doral Dixon, Santo and Octagon, and Mascarita Sagrada. And the way I look at it is when Mascarita Sagrada was at his prime, he was one of the best wrestlers in the world, regardless of size. And I think that's pretty impressive. Santo and Octagon, of course, when worlds collide. Again, very influential. Everybody copied them. Europe, Australia, Pacific Islands, Africa. Spiros Arion, big star in Australia. Dominic DeNucci, big star in Australia. Gilbert Leduc, big star in France. And the Royal Brothers, big tag team. All right, non-wrestlers. Do I have 7 here? I think I do. Zane Breslov. I know, Gran Amata. That's a tough one. I agree about that. There's some that are tough. It's tough. I could change. I really could. He could come back. I don't have the ones that I deleted, but he's definitely one of the people that I'm going over. I don't know what you want to say. Agonizing. That might be too strong. Bobby Bruns. St. Louis in Japan. Joe Iguchi in Japan. Rossi Ogawa. Morris Siegel. Famous promoter. Ted Turner. And Stanley Weston. I always do that. That's a good question. I've got to go back and look, Mel. I'll go take a look. Maybe it's here. Hang on. Let me scroll down. Hang on. Oh, goodness gracious. The other person I was interested in, Otto Vons. I'm like, Otto Vons, he was the promoter and all that stuff. I'm like, that's a tough one. Where is he? Where is he? Gran Amada's in Mexico. He's in Mexico, which is interesting. Let's see. Oh. All right. So there you go. I think is that everybody? Yeah. So those are the people I voted for. All right. I am contemplating voting for. I could very likely vote for. So I haven't turned it in yet. I still have some time. So, yeah. There's nothing wrong with voting for Otto Vons. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with voting for Otto Vons. I just didn't this time. Sometimes I go in and out on people, depending on if I feel strongly about someone or someone else. So that's kind of what I do. At least that's kind of my thought. Yeah. All right, kids. Well, you know what? I should probably edit the show and get that done. Oh, hang on a second. Oops. Anyway. Well, I appreciate you guys all being here. I don't know. I could change my mind. And always, I swear to God, like every year I vote, even though I go over it, I'm like, I still always regret somebody or something or whatever. But, you know, like for example, like I didn't vote for Roman Reigns and I don't regret it. So, well, thank you for being here, Crash. And I appreciate you guys. I really do. And thank you for being here. Thanks for 20 people. Is a lot to show up on this channel. Sounds good. So I appreciate it. I always worry about my voice and stuff. So anyway. All right, guys. I appreciate you. I will talk to you next week. So hang in there. Have a good weekend.